Welcome, welcome, everybody. We didn't want to leave you in that cold, cold waiting room. So get in here, make sure that you have a notebook and a pen and a pencil, because Robin's going to be taking the floor today to talk to us about how we can structure 2025. I'm in the car rushing to get to my desk so that I can take those notes, but that means I need my land pilot fam to come through as Robin speaks, but he's going to get some water. He's going to be here shortly. Like I said, we didn't want to leave you in the cold, so I'm glad you're here. Welcome.
Hey guys, how are you today? Oh my God, that's a full room. Who do I see here?
Hey,
David, thank you for switching on the camera. Vlad, thank you for switching on the camera. I love to see your beautiful face, my friend. Sanjay, oh my God, we see us every day, like a couple of times, like it feels, right? I love that. And who else do we have? Claudia is here, Ray, Lisa, David, Greg, Yasir, Steve, John. Guys, if you can switch on the camera, I would really appreciate that. That doesn't give me the feeling of being, yeah, the only one here talking. And I want to share some stuff with you today. And I was really thinking about a long time, um, what can I do today? And we are in the end of 2024. So why don't we talk about 2025? And I don't know if you have ever been in masterminds or not, but I have been in several of them. And what I want to share with you today are three different things: how to plan your goals, how to think about goals. Second thing is time management, how you manage your time to get there. And last but not least, I will share with you the way I plan out my goals. These three things, nobody can ever take them for you. It will be the magic which will bring you there where you want to be if you execute that in a way that you take away from today. So, who's excited about that? Who's excited about 2025 and reaching that like what you want? I see Vlad is excited, Claudia is excited, Ray is excited. So, let's kick that off. And I'm going to share my screen. Let me just like switch on. Wait, my screen. So, one. So, can you see my screen?
yes.
Give me a quick thumbs up. Okay, cool. Good. How to set and achieve bigger goals. That's the topic of the day. And I want to kick it off with a quote from Dr. Greg Reed. I'm a quote guy, right? So a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action becomes reality. And this is what goals are, right? You can write down on your paper whatever you want. You can write down, I want to make $1 million in 2025, right? But that's nothing worse when you create a plan out of this, how you get there. And when you have that plan together, when you don't take action on your goals, you will never get there where you want. And this is what I see. I've been a coach in my lifetime. I'm still a coach. And so I see that a lot of times and have seen that with multiple clients who said, hey, I want to go there. They brought the plan, but the most important thing, what they never did, was action. And there are several reasons for that, and we'll go over that through all of that today, right? So, common and average excuses about that, right? I've never been good at goal setting, or I don't even know where to start. Goal setting has never really worked for me. I set goals, but then I lose momentum and don't do anything, right? And there's so many other things that you can bring together. It's like, I don't want to dream too big. People will judge me or think I'm crazy, right? Like, I had a call with a guy the other day and he said, hey, Robin, I'm brand new to this. I want to make $1 million the next year. I say, great. Let's talk about how can we do that, right? Like, how can you get there? And because like most of the people he said like, you don't think I'm crazy? No, I said like, it's just when you want to make $1 million, then you just need to be willing to make $1 million too, right? I'm not worthy of success. Success is for other people. I'm too old. I'm not old enough or have enough gray hairs, right? I got some, by the way, right? When you look at here, right? They're here, they're alive. Um, or I don't have the same background, pedigree, I'm not educated enough, whatever. There's so many excuses around goals, and we want to go through all these objections today, right? I think that's all bullshit. right? And always remember, bullshit is BS. And when you have BS, you can also translate that to this wonderful two words, belief system, right? So we all have belief systems of what's possible, what's not possible. And to be honest, Greg, this is the only thing which decides you and me from Elon Musk. He just thinks other things are possible than ours, or Ray, right? Like it's just this what's in between our ears, what we believe that decides us to not be there where we want to be today with our goals, right? The other thing is if you don't know where you are going, right? Then how will you ever go there? I don't know if you ever set yourself in a car and just drove. Maybe you did that to relax, right? To get down. But normally we sit ourselves down in the car and go somewhere. To Walmart, to the doctor, to visit your parents and friends, to do whatever. We always have a goal where we go to, right? And we do that every day in the car and with the car, but we never. And a lot of people I see struggling with that set a goal and then have a direction. And a lot of people don't even have a goal, right? They just like go around. So where I want you to bring in, and I had this presentation in one of the masterminds that I host. You don't need to know the how at this point. Really important is the what and the why, right? What do I mean by that? A lot of people think about goal setting. What software do I use? What CRM? What whatever, right? Like what people and so on. But the most important thing is what vehicle do I use to get there where I want, right? Like so when I get in the car, which car do I use? Do I use my car? Do I buy another car? Which car do I want? Right? That's the vehicle going somewhere. And then why do I want to go there? When I go to Walmart, I'm going to pick up groceries probably, right? That I need to live, right? When I go to see my friends, right? When I want to see Gene, I just jump in the car, right, and go to see to Gene. By the way, Gene, we need to make that happen soon because I'm in Texas for a while right now. But that's the why. Because seeing Gene brings me joy and pleasure. It enriches my life. You need to find out why you want to do things. Sorry, let me just like my WhatsApp just appeared here. Let me just close here that window so we don't get distracted per today.
It's
Okay,
almost like
and
you
let's
purposely are showing us your why, Robin.
my why. Yeah, that's my why, right? Like it's of course
Yeah.
spending time with the family, being free, right? So the what is the goal and the why is the purpose behind the goal. Does that make sense? So, and what a lot of people do, they think so much about the how, they lose the what and the why completely out of that. Who is guilty about that? I mean, I can raise my hand. I'm guilty about that, right? Like when we're thinking we structure something new, I always think, okay, what software do we use? What do we do this? How do we do this? But I often lose sight, right? I get so entangled in things and I think, oh my God, by doing this, what was it again? What we wanted to achieve was that it's much too complicated. Let's go the easy way, right? Because that brings me there where I want to be. Um, so for me, there's three types of goals, right? There are short-term goals. Short-term goals is everything what you can achieve within a year. Be clear about that, right? A lot of people really underestimate what they can do in 5 years, but they overestimate what they can do in a year, right? So set realistic short-term goals. For me, there are long-term goals. That's a 2 to 5 year time frame, and then there's vision. A vision is that what you can achieve in 5 to 10 to 20 years and beyond, right? So that's the place where you want to be. And like when you go now in 2025, if you never did that, maybe you take some time around the holidays, sit down and think about this year, like the vision. What is your big goal in life? Where do you want to be? Right? Like, why do you want to be there? What gives you joy, purpose? How does a life look like that you could never imagine, but that you like in your list, in your dreams, or wherever? Um, really think really free and don't give yourself boundaries. That's a pretty good vision. And Korean knows that, and Viroska and a lot of people in my company, like I'm a big visionary. I can talk about vision every day. But when you don't have that, when you don't feel that, what gets you out of bed to get there where you want in your business, right? So really take some time to be clear of that and then break that down. What can I do in the next 2 to 5 years? And what brings me the next year there that I can be in my vision in 5 years, 10 years from now? Because what I see happening in a lot of times, guys, is people have great visions, but they want to be there tomorrow. And that's not possible. You need to break that down in realistic goals that you have, right? So that's the what, right? So when you have defined that, like what does all of that look like? What do you need to do? Then you can go in the next thing is the why, right? You need to ask yourself, do you want it? Do you really want it? Do you want it for any price? Right? Like the thing is when you don't have a clear why, right? Who of you has family? Like, who has kids? Like, does somebody have kids here in the room? Okay, just raise your hand. Don't be shy, right? We're here just with us, right? So wouldn't you do everything for your daughter, for your son? Wouldn't you do everything for those people you really love? And this is how big your vision, your desire needs to be, that you have a strong why you do it, right? Um, I always like to think, how will it impact you for the better, right? Like your why. What will it do with you? How will it impact your family and loved ones? How will it make the world a better place, right? So your why should really be something that has all this like three components combined with really strong desire and purpose, right? Because in the end, there will come good days and there will come a lot of bad days. Life is like a roller coaster, right? There's really good times, and maybe some of you had like me, like a tough year 2024, right? Things didn't go as expected. But when you lose sight of your why you're doing things, then you can't maneuver through the bad days, right? You can't get yourself up and running again. So, really make crystal clear, why do you want to go there where you want to go, right? That's the why. And like Andrew Carnegie called that the white hot desire, right? Like that, what's like really like the fuel to your everyday's doing, the fuel to that things that you do every day to get there where you want. Because executing a true vision for yourself and being better than average people, getting out of the average thing that people are doing, needs that hot desire. Because um, when you don't have that, you will never get there again, right? So define that for you before you do any way of goal planning. Define why you want to do things, and then how does that look like, right? For me, freedom is a big thing. I talk all the time about that. People following me for a time know that, right? Like being free, having freedom of time and location, especially. We're right now moving to the US, right? We were in Spain before. I was in Germany before it. We just go around because my big why is freedom. And what it, for example, that I do land flipping was a decision going away from house flipping because I wanted to be locationally free, and I made a lot of money in house flipping. It was a great life I built, but it was not that what I wanted. So I made a tough decision to get out of that, going this big adventure of coming to the US, flipping land, because you know what my argument was? It was doable on the laptop anywhere in the world, right? And right now we're in Dallas here, and who knows where we will be next year when we maybe do another session of these, right? Um, and what I want to ask you again is, what do you really, really, really want, right? Like, ask yourself that. And it could be maybe one of these things, right? Money, financial security, financial freedom. Maybe you want to achieve a certain net worth. You want to have a number of a certain amount of doors. You want to have a specific amount of passive income each month. You want to create generational wealth. Maybe that's one of the things you want. But I think what you really want is one of the five freedoms or all of them, right? This is what you really, really want. Because all of this are just vehicles that bring you to the five freedoms. And I'm a strong believer in that, right? What are these five freedoms? The first one is financial freedom. You want to do that what you want anytime you want without financial limitations, right? I'm a water sports guy, right? And to be honest, I'm not there on my financial goal where I want to be because I want to go kite surfing every day or sailing every day, right? This is when I choose a house or a place to live, I'm always at a lake, right? Because I want to have the opportunity. My kite surf equipment is right here behind me in a little shed, right? So, and the lake is there. So when I want to go kite surfing, by the way, I should have done that today. There's some wind outside, is what I see right now there. Then I just go, right? Time freedom. Imagine you don't have an alarm clock anymore. Imagine you have, and I heard an interesting interview about like, what does time freedom mean, right? It was, I think, Trevor Mock. If you don't know Trevor Mock, he's the CEO of Carrot.com. He has a really cool podcast. He talks about a lot of these things. He's a friend of mine, and I can just like highly recommend his podcast. But he talked about that everybody wants time freedom. That doesn't mean like doing what you want whenever you want it, right? That can mean you have a structure, right? That can mean you do like we do the comms call every morning, for example, right? I do that because I enjoy it, right? I love hanging out in the morning with Sanjay Sharma, who is here, right? And there's a couple of other guys, like Charlie or Will or whoever that is. It's just like, hey, we're sitting together in the morning, look at deals, and I know that I help people and help these guys getting better deals on the contract, and that gives me joy and pleasure. This is why I do it, right? It's a fixed appointment, but it doesn't steal me time. It's for me a decision that I do that every day because I want to do it every day because it serves my purpose, serves my why, and my what that brings me to my why, right? Geographical freedom, we talked about that, right? I mean, who doesn't want to work from anywhere, right? Who doesn't want to work? I know Gene was traveling this year, right? I know that Korean is traveling all the time. Vlad, I don't even know where that guy is every day, right? Like one day he's in Florida, the other day he's in Ohio, the third day he is like somewhere in Texas. I don't know. Like this is geographical freedom, and I think most of our people want that. Of course, it's a freedom to impact. I think that's what people really want, right? Like the freedom of choice. How do you spend your time and who do you impact with that? When you can be free of like any outside like obligations that you need to be somewhere because you live life on your own terms, you also have the freedom to impact whoever you want, right? And last but not least, it's the freedom of, not from, of relationships, right? So, what do I mean by that? How cool would your life be when you don't need to deal with certain people? Right? Like when you have a boss, when you wouldn't need to deal with that boss, when you have people you need to do business with because it pays your bills, right? When you could choose who do you spend your time with and how much do you spend your time. I had a discussion with somebody, and I have a really busy schedule end of the year right now because we have certain things to plan out and to do and to shift. And he's here and he said, "Oh, let's meet up. I'm in Texas next week." I said, in your area, I said, "Hey, I can't do it." Why? Because my schedule is set and the activities, and we talk about time management in a bit. And guys, this is so valuable. This is really like that changed my life completely because I focus on really activities and things that bring me to my why, right? So I didn't feel guilty to say, "Hey, Mister, I can't meet you," right? Because I have other things to do that are serving me, right? And that are serving the higher purpose I have, the impact I make. So it will not be possible. Was he upset? Probably. Um, will that affect our relationship? Probably, but that's his choice, right? So that really means freedom when you don't need to meet with somebody before you feel guilty. And these are the five freedoms I think everybody wants, right? Like you want to determine where you want to be, when you want to be there, who you want to spend time with, who you want to impact with this, and that you never worry about your finances while you do that, right? These are like the true five freedoms probably everybody wants, and maybe listen a little bit in that. Look at the recording of that call. It will be in the portal. And when you sit down, revisit this theme, this topic, and just like think, hey, is this really the five things that do me? Maybe it's not all of them. Maybe it's like two or three or four of them. But I can tell you, for me, it's all five of them because freedom is that what drives us and brings us there where we want to be, right? So writing down your goals is a must too, right? Like what you don't write will never ever happen. Like sit down, spend some time with yourself, right? Because um and I will give you in the end of this call how I do it. I give you that, right? It's like it's a secret sauce. I learned that in a mastermind that was so fucking expensive, but I got five tools out of this mastermind that really changed my life completely, and I will give you two out of this today, right? And sit yourself down, get your heads down, get it on paper because it gives you clarity on where you're going, right? You have all this brain dump, always a lot of thoughts in his head. Like, who's guilty of that? Raise your hand. Don't be shy, right? I have that. Like, Vlad has that. I know Sanjay has that. Gina, everybody has that, right? So a lot of thoughts. When you just like bring that brain dump out for a while, right? It will give you so much clarity when you look at it, can read over it, and don't deal with your thoughts, and other thoughts are going over that, and you forget what you're going on, right? You can read your goals, you can review them daily, right? And I always recommend handwriting. Why handwriting? Because it activates a lot of senses. You look on it, you hear it when you're writing, right? Like with your little pencil on a piece of paper, you hear it, you sense it while you touch it, right? And maybe when you write with certain pencils, you even smell it, right? Um, so it activates a lot of senses. So it's like in your neurosystem, right? And then we're on an energy level, but we don't want to touch that today. But write it down because this is a must. Okay. There's three categories of goals, right? And I want to go a little bit there. There are A goals, B goals, and C goals, right? A goals are something you want, something that you know you can achieve, something that you maybe done before, right? You're absolutely sure that you can go there. What's an A goal? I don't know. You want to lose 10 pounds next year, right? Maybe you were a little bit more skinny a couple of years ago. So you know you have been there when you're a little bit more disciplined, do a little workout, eat a little bit better, then it's easy to achieve, right? So maybe you have some land and lots and you're going to buy more land lots, right? Stuff you're doing that's normal for you. You don't need to stretch. You can easily do that with the resources you have. That are A goals, right? Maybe you have some sort of apartments in your portfolio. You're going to buy similar apartments of the same size and in the same city. So A goals is just like setting goals that you anyway do and are easy to achieve. You want to always have a couple of them, right? And they're part of this goal setting journey, right? And then there are B goals. That's something you really want, right? And B goals are really cool goals because it's something that you have never done before, but you have other people seen doing it, right? Like when I want to do, like, right on my list, I want to do next year 30 deals in California. I've never done before, but I have Sanjay seeing doing it, right? I have other people seeing doing 30 deals in California, right? So that's something I haven't achieved where I need to go in and I need to stretch myself a little bit and learn a couple of new things. How does the title work over there? How does the landscape work? How are the regulations? What can I do there, right? So you know that if others can do it, you can do it too, right? These are B goals, right? Things other people have done. And I think you should always have a couple of them because it brings you out of your comfort zone. Does that make sense? Like, let's say you made like 20 deals this year. Maybe you want to do 40 next year. There are a couple of people in this room I see that did 40 deals in the last year. So it's doable, but you need to stretch yourself. You need to go above and beyond to double that amount. That is a B goal, right? Um, maybe like I wrote some stuff down. Maybe you change your asset class, right? Maybe you're going to take on a development project or do a ground up. Maybe you diversify in addition to residential real estate and get into another asset class. Maybe you go into subdivides. Maybe. I think B goals expands your comfort zone and always brings you closer to that where you want to be. And then, last but not least, and I brought Elon Musk here on this one, C goals, right? That's something huge, right? That's a big, hairy, and audacious goals, right? this is like something which maybe hasn't been done before, or really, really few people in history achieved that, right? You want to have one of these. You want to have something where you work on, like, um, for example, I have a big goal in my life. I want to one day speak in front of 100,000 people about something like this, right? Like about mindset, about how you achieve your goals, about being fearless, right? And I never shared that before, but that's like one of my goals. There are not so many people, you would agree, in that was that spoke in front of 100,000 people, right? Like live. And you know, the seagulls, that brings you there. You should probably have one or two or three in your life that you want to achieve. But these are the goals that really change society, that change the impact you have, right? I mean, there were the two bicycle mechanics named the Wright brothers, right? They wanted to get like a flying machine in the air, right? What did they invent? The airplane in the end, right? And they just wanted to have a bicycle that can fly around, right? Um, Elon Musk has the big dreams through his company SpaceX to bring to get the first people to Mars, right? So um, when you plan out your goals, categorize them a little bit. And I would always focus your A goals is that what you do anyway, right? Like maybe a little jump, but your B goal should be bigger. It should be something where you need to stretch for. And then, like in your long-term play, you should always work towards your C goals too, right? This is how I separate personally my goals. Um, and I just want to ask you, there are the Wright brothers, Elon Musk, and then there's you. So how do you take action? How do you get forward? What are your C goals? And let me just recap them, right? A goals, we know we can do. B goals are, we know we can probably do. And C goals is big dream goals, right? So get thinking again, guys. Start dreaming again. And remember that you are meant for greatness, right? And that anything is possible. So when you sit down and plan your 2025, also revisit what you want to achieve in life, because next year you can lay the foundation for that where you want to go, right? And I just finished that part of this training off with something Tony Robbins said. I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan, right? People often overestimate what they can do in a year, but they underestimate what they can do in 3, 5, or 10. So when you sit down and do your goals, just always have that in mind, right? So another quote I found is vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world, from Joel A. Baker. So guys, take it, conquer it, go ahead. And with that said, I wanted today go with you in another training, right? Because what would you say is the number one thing that that holds you up today? Who has a day job here? Let's do a little thing. Who is still a job or has something else to do than land? Is there other people doing other things than land? I think so. Who struggles with time management? Who is guilty of that? Vlad raises his hand. Claudia raises his hand. We just have time management experts. Anthony, look, Anthony's in the car. He's probably with his wife, right? He raises his hands. So I want to give you the secret sauce about time management today. Because once you have figured out these goals, right, I don't want you to stuck in there where most of the people stuck in procrastination, right? So let me share my screen again and let's go through that because we have a lot to go through. And in the end of this, I will share my goal planning method, what I do when I identify the goal, how I break that down. But let's talk about how do we manage our time. Oh my God, I love this, guys. This when you internalize this, this will make you millions of dollars, right? Like in your lifetime and give you like a really peaceful life, right? I will teach you today why most people struggle with time management, how all perspectives around what time is need work, how to change your language around time is necessary, and the top 6 things that steal your productivity. And then we talk about the rule of the 168 and the productivity pyramid. And the last two things will blow your mind. I promise you that. But let's kick it off, right? Do you ever ask yourself why do some people appear to have all the time in the world? They need to do things and get things done where others fail miserably at. Do you have these friends who are always so organized and get everything done? Do you ever wonder why does that happen? And do you think that people who get more done are different or gifted or more talented? And do you think that some people who appear to crush it regularly have some secret to their success? In fact, if you're willing to play full out with me today, right, I can assure you that this will be one of the greatest gifts this entire like program we do here at the Land Pilot will give you. And the great news is that you'll have it for the rest of your life. And it all comes down to what I call the truth about time, guys. But before I reveal some of that with you, let's check in. Do you ever feel like this? Like the guy who is handling everything in the same hand, in the same time, who is like this? Where's all this octopus arms? Oh, fuck, I forgot this. Oh, I forgot this. Claudia raised her hand. I've seen that. I'm guilty of that sometimes too. And you will never be perfect at that. But it's about like being really intentional about your time and being intentional of what you do, right? So when you feel like this, on a scale 1 to 10, right? Where would you rate yourself when it comes to time management right now? Well, like 1 to 10, write it in the chat. Like let's go over here. Like who has something to share? Write it in the chat. Who is here in the time management? Who is a 10? Do we have a 10 here? Is somebody really accurate? Write it in the chat. Be a little bit interactive. We have a 3 from Vlad. Okay. What else? Somebody else? Type a number. Claudius a 4. 7 for Korean. 6, 6. Great. 3. 5, 6. Oh my God, we have a lot of talented people. Ray Kelly here with the 5. But let's go ahead. When I ask this question, right, most of the people end up with a 3 to 5, right? And when you look down here, right, it's like a 3 to 5 almost through everything. We have like some sixes and some eights, right? But that's really what it is. And where I want to talk about today with you is how do you come on a consistently 6 to 9? There is no 10. You will never be perfect with your time. We are no machines, right? But I want to bring you today that you can be there, right? So most people never stop to ask what's preventing them from getting to a higher number versus don't know how, right? Second thing is their beliefs. Third thing is procrastination, right? Fourth is I've never been good at it, right? I told my story that for a long time. Oh, I'm terrible at time management. Even if I'm German, right? We Germans are always punctual, right? Like when you get it. Does somebody of you have German friends? Does somebody of you has a German friend you hang out sometimes with? Guys, when they invite you for one, don't do the American thing. Come at 2, right? Better come at 12:59 because they will call you at 1:01 and ask you if you're all right, right? This is how Germans are. But I told myself I'm terribly bad at time management. Another question I want to ask you is, what are the consequences if you don't fix this? What happens to your life if you wouldn't get better in your own organization? What would happen in your business if you couldn't achieve more? Right? What would happen in your personal life if you wouldn't organize yourself better? Right? Because remember, where focus goes, energy flows, and you're either focused on the problem or you're focused on the solution. Right? So this is what we want to talk about today. Hey, we don't want to stuck in all patterns, right? Um, and I want to kick it off right now with changing our language around time, right? I believe that that the term time management is not effective because you can't really manage time, right? Time is going to come and time is going to go. Like in this like past 35 minutes, we had a lot of time going down the river and there's a lot of time in front of us, right? But what you can manage is the events in your life that you're giving your time, energy, attention, and intention to. So let's call it event management, right? What you need to start learning to do in your life is managing all these events that happen to you and how to deal and categorize them. Does that make sense? So, with that, let's also start by taking a look at what are the things that steal your productivity? Are there some things where post something in the chat? Is there something what steals your productivity right now today? Something you can think about. Put it in the chat. We'll look about that, right? And I go over 6 things that steal your productivity. The first thing is shiny object syndrome. Who is guilty of shiny object syndrome? Vlad, Adam, oh my God. There's always something cooler and better and faster. You do land today, you see an ad on Facebook, oh, I can make millions in crypto. Or I could go to multifamily or to single family residential and all that. Guys, everybody's guilty of that. There's always opportunities. But like when you have a certain goal planning, you don't want to be there because you have a goal. And the shiny object syndrome steals so much from your time. The second one is procrastination. Who's a procrastinator here? Oh, I'm a big one. Yeah, too, right? I was a big one before. I'm much better now. Procrastination steals us time, like not getting the things done we were supposed to get done. Multitasking, right? Like, hey, when you try to, who has ever been in a meeting with somebody else that is just looking on the other side of the screen, like on a Zoom meeting? And then you ask them a question, and they're like, oh, sorry, what is that? Hey, guys, multitasking gets nothing done. Better do shorter things and do one thing. Because I promise you, when you focus on something, you will get it in a shorter amount of time done with a better outcome, right? The fourth thing that steals your productivity is the failure to write things down. When you're in meetings like this, when you're in other meetings, I just write pages over pages. My Remarkable is broken, but I have this Remarkable, so I don't have so much paper to waste. But you should always write things down, right? And what a lot of people don't do, they don't use a day planner or an online calendar or whatever, right? So when you don't plan out your days, it's the same with your goals. You will go nowhere. When you don't schedule certain amount of times for certain things, right? And and when I see people doing that, and I see like their calendar is like this. I mean, my calendar is sometimes like this because I have like 20 meetings a day, right? But these meetings are half an hour, and every meeting has an intention, and that's a full day, and I don't do nothing else that day but meetings. Maybe I reply to some emails and to some of my team members intentionally, but when you set that down, it steals you a lot of time. And the last thing what steals your productivity is not having or not using deadlines, right? Whoever has worked on a project and said, oh, you know what? I can't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow or the day after. Or, you know what? Next week is good too. Yeah, I see Adam and Claudia. We get better here, right? We just like see ourselves like doing all these things. When you don't use that, it steals so much of your time. So, what I want to talk about with you right now is a concept when it comes to time, and that's the rule of 168. Who can imagine what the rule of 168 is? It's the rule that we all have 168 hours a week, right? It's 7 days times 24 hours where we can work with. Where we can work with. We can't have more hours. We can't have more time. Time is the only limited resource. And this is where you need to be pretty aware of because you have Mondays to Sundays and it's 24 hours a day. There is not more time, right? In fact, you have got the exact same amount of time as Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Richard Branson, me, Claudia, Jean, Korean. So it's just about what are you doing with your 168 hours a week? This is where it is really about, guys. So you sleep some time, you hang out with your wife, you eat some time, you go to the gym, right? These are all activities that you do with your 168 hours, but there's a certain amount of times left. And now you can do things like I don't know, watching TV that goes out of your 168 hours, or I don't know, scrolling on Facebook, or you can intentionally deal with that, what you are doing, right? And beside of that, we are also like, it's also a time to take a look at your routines and habit and rituals, right? Like, what do you do on a daily basis that steals your time? Because what we really are, we are creatures of habit. So what you do today, you're going to do tomorrow. For example, every morning when I get up, I have a shower. After I have a shower, I feed the dog, I feed the baby, and then I walk the dog every morning, right? Like when I don't go to the gym, like which I try to establish as a new habit. But guess what? It's fucking hard because I want to go work out in the mornings, right? But getting that in your day involved and following consequently is just like a huge, huge thing, right? So I can tell you that I'd be willing to guess that a significant portion of what you did yesterday, you did or will do again today, and would you believe that you'll probably do it again tomorrow, right? So we do over and over and over and over the same things again, right? And how do you now get rid of this? And I want to come up with a concept, and it's from my good friend and mentor, Trevor McGregor, who's a high performance coach of the millionaires and billionaires in real estate. And he came up with this concept, and he allowed me to share that with you today. Normally, you need to pay a ridiculous amount of dollar, but he said, Robin, this is what we need to think about. And I want you to think about your time like this. You have four certain areas how you schedule out your time. On the low end, we have the low or no value time. What is low or no value time? That's time you spend, I don't know, watching TV, scrolling around on Facebook, doing nonsense that where you really know, I don't know, where you really don't enjoy doing that, right? That could be, I don't know, wiping the house or whatever. That goes then to the second step of the pyramid. There's the low dollar value work you do every day. That can be ridiculous stuff like, hey, do you do your bookkeeping, right? You could probably outsource that. It could be something like mowing your lawn. It could be something like um, cleaning the house. It could be something where another person could do that for you while you concentrate on that what is here, the high dollar value things. You see here is like a big black like bar in here, and that's there for a reason. Super successful people spend most of their time above this line. What are high dollar activities? That's getting on the phone negotiating the deal. That's getting the deal done with the realtor on the other side. That's talking with your lenders to get the funding done for that deal that makes you millions of dollars. That's spending the time where you really have the highest impact and make money, right? So think about that in your productivity that you really want to spend time above this line. To have more time for what? This is what I call the high lifetime value. What is high lifetime value? It's everything you enjoy to do. That could be hanging out with your land fam Thursday afternoons, 5 p.m. here in our channel on that. That can be spending time with your spouse, with your family. That can be going kite surfing on the lake. That can be going skiing. That can be going ATVing. All the things you enjoy to do. It can be hanging out at a mastermind, or learning a thing that you always wanted to learn in life, right? I don't know if you I like to saw or like whatever it is, right? That's really that time where you want to enjoy. And I call that the brown time, the light green time, the dark green time, and the gold time. And what you really, where I want to look here when you're focusing on your goals, when you're focusing on your business next year, try to stay away from all of that time here and be really honest with yourself, really intentional. Maybe the next couple of days, make like a little diary. What do I do? Like, what did I do the past half hour? Or make that every hour. Set an alarm on your phone, make a little diary. What did I do in the last hour? Hey, did I spend brown time, right? Like, why is it brown time? Shitty time, right? It's like where you do all the shitty things that don't bring any value to your life, like watching TV or whatever. I mean, you can watch TV. That's okay, right? When you do it like half an hour or an hour, it's cool. But when you sit like 6 hours binge watching something, you just waste a lot of time in that moment, right? And it doesn't really serve you. But it's also like looking at the activities you do in your company, right? Do you really need to scrape lists that you get from data tree or whatever? Do you really need to do that, or can you just hire somebody for $30 or ask Claude AI doing that for you? Can you hire somebody on Upwork? Always like be really intentional to that you spend when you plan out your time, the most time here in your business on doing high dollar value activities, right? I mean, the highest dollar, we talk all every morning about that, right? And Sanjay is a master in that, is negotiating with your sellers, is doing deals on the phone, right? Like where you would really get a deal under contract where you actually need to make money. When you spend all your time doing bookkeeping, organizing your G Drive, your emails, or whatever, um, no, then you will never have time to do this important activities while you have all this other time coming up, right? Be intentional about what you're doing at home. Like, do I need to go 3 hours to get groceries, or shall I just maybe order them, pay a little premium, maybe of $20, $30, but when it takes you 3 hours, right? Like you can do this 3 hours to something really valuable, like I don't know, getting another deal under contract, right? Getting in the next collaboration with somebody, hanging out in a mastermind, hanging out with your family, going swimming, doing sports, whatever you like to do, right? Be really intentional what you want to do with your time. And I schedule that out. I have like a calendar with myself, my personal calendar, where my work hours on, when I go to sleep, when I wake up, and I try to stay in that. I have always free time every day because you have unexpected things to happen, right? But when you really plan out your goals, also be intentional. How do you put them to action on your calendar, right? And with that, I think I talked a lot about time, and I think the message is clear. Now I want to give you some secret sauce. We talked about the goals, we talked about and all that. I want to give you now how do I personally execute on my goals, right? And that's the RPM method. Did anybody ever hear about that? This is how you achieve everything and anything and build a plan in under half an hour. And this is that 7 questions. I would be you, I would take a screenshot of that or write that down, right? So when you have a certain goal identified, let's say you want to be like Sanjay and do 100 deals next year, right? So then it's that, what is the result I want? And the next step, what you do is, why do I want that? Write a purpose statement. When you want to have a result and you don't have a purpose behind that that's really touching and moving you, that aligns with your vision, that aligns with that what you want to do, you will never ever follow through. Really, that's like probably the most important part of all of this is like identifying, why do I want that? Am I willing to go that route? Because when I want to do 100 deals, I need and did maybe 30 deals this year, then I need to really step up and I need to be willing to sacrifice and really be on other sides of life. You have certain areas in life. I think you can't develop like your family life in the same time on being a better friend, husband, daughter or son, or grandpa or grandma, and you can at the same time lose 20 pounds, and at the same time you evolve your business, right? Really focus like on something where you want to be better, and have a purpose behind that. Don't try to change everything at the same time, right? Stretch this over a couple of years to go to your vision. But when you write down why do I want that? With a purpose statement. And then you map it out, right? Um, what does it mean? It's building the massive action plan. And what I do first is I do just brainstorm. I write down whatever I think about this. What are things I need to do to get there? What like just like dump it on pieces of paper, notebooks, spreadsheets, Word documents, whatever is good for you. Just like get it out of your brain and write it down. Then the next thing is what you do from all the things you have now on your plan to get there where you want, you prioritize it, right? What are the things I need to do first? Then you timestamp it, right? When you have the prioritization, you set deadlines for yourself. I want to achieve that until here, right? Like, okay, and be realistic with that, right? So the A goal is like when Sanjay wants to do 100 deals next year, he probably needs to ramp up marketing. So the first step would be here, hey, I need to do my market research. What other markets what are to do? And then put like, I don't know, 10 days time frame on that. I want to be done with that or I will be done with that by the 15th of December. Until 31st of December, I will have all the lists pulled and scrubbed. And on the 1st of January, I have everything to submit it to my cold calling team, and they're going to bring that out. And this is how you go on. Like timestamp that, build yourself deadlines, single tasking again, right? Don't try to do everything at once. Just like do one thing at a time. And then leverage, right? When you look at all of this, look who can help you with that. Think again about time, right? Like green, light green, brown. Um, Everything what is light green, you probably want to delegate to somebody, right? Everything that doesn't make you money, you want to find solutions, no matter if that is AI that you're utilizing or if that's like VAs you're utilizing. You want to find that who's that help you with getting there where you want to be, right? For example, there is um, we have amazing IT systems, right? Like when you ask our team, I spoke with our sales rep the other day. He said, like, Robin, I've never seen like an easy to use IT systems like you guys have for me as a sales rep. Intentionally, I had the goal to build the easiest to use IT systems for sales reps where they don't need to do much, just doing calls. And I gave that to our head of IT and said, this is what I want, get it done. I would have probably needed 5 years to get it there, and I would have probably failed on the way of execution. But he was my who to get there. And that came out of something which was the RPM plan method that was on the plan, right? And when you have done this six first steps, then it's just about one thing, guys. And that's the most important thing. When you have planned all of that out, be relentless in execution because that's what decides the people who are there where they want to be from that ones who will always just dream about it, right? Um, um, Execution is the secret sauce in every goal setting session, in everything you do. When you don't execute it with relentlessly, with the highest amount of purpose every day, then you will never get there where you want to be. And this is when you look, this is what when you look at interviews from Elon Musk, right? He is still sometimes sleeping in the fucking Tesla factory, right? And you can like him or not, but this is why he's there. Jeff Bezos was in every department of his company. This is why he is there where he is, right? Because they were relentlessly executioning their visions, right? And helping the people guiding them. And with that said, that was a 53 minutes monologue. It was pretty fast. We'll share the recording. There was, from my understanding, like there's three things which really changed my life: the categorization of like ABC goals, right? And identifying a clear why and having this five freedoms, having this time management implemented in my life, really being intentional on time. Will you ever be perfect on that? No. But when you come closer to an 8 or 9 on your own time management, we call it event management scale, right? Then you will get so much more shit done. And when you then have a good execution plan with that method, nothing can stop you. And with that said, Korean, I just like switch off my screen sharing here and let's open it up for a Q&A and maybe a lightning round of distinctions around this.
Let's do it. To anybody that's new here, just so you know, this is fireside chat mode. So feel free to unmute if nobody's speaking. And if somebody is, just raise your hand and you put yourself immediately next in line by raising your hand on reactions down at the bottom. But we'd love to hear from you. What questions you have for Robin around this?
I don't have any questions at this moment because I'm absorbing this, but what I really, really liked about this was the compact summary of it all that actually ended up being what I would call practical and like real guidelines that I can now take and just spend whatever amount of time is needed to do that and then have a result of that. So that's the other half of that story. And I'm just sort of leaning in that direction now, but this is going to solidify my direction and my movement. I'm very happy. So thank you so much.
I love that. And I will see you moving next year, Claudia. I'm so sure about that, right?
Absolutely. Far faster and far more strongly than this year. Tough year.
I love that.
Yep.
Any questions around this topic? Anything else what you always wanted to ask me, right? Like, I don't know, what is this cool pencil you have always in your hand, right? It's always a different one or whatever it is, guys. What can I help you out with today?
I think it's interesting, Robin, and anybody again, unmute and cut me off. I'm happy for that. But I find it interesting that I asked ChatGPT on Monday. I literally asked it. I was like, how do you slow down time? And I think you answered that question today better than ChatGPT could. And that's you prioritize better and you choose what you spend your time on.
Yeah. It's being intentional, guys, right? We think there's like so much time left, but there's in reality there's not, because there's certain things you need to do every day. You need to eat, you need to go to the restroom, you need to shower, right? You need to sleep, right? You need to take care of your loved ones, right? So then what do you have left? 8 good hours, maybe. And when you then don't do the right things, you certainly, or what will happen is that you don't have enough time to do that things which really bring you there where you want. And being distracted, the shiny object syndrome, right? Like who was guilty of that? With a couple of people here, right, that raised their hands. Especially in times of like social media and all that, right? Like it's you can always do so much more and so much different things. But when you decided for a path and that brings you there and you see successes and they maybe don't come as fast as you want, stay on that path, because whatever you learn new, you need to become an expert in that first, right? And you're all on a path probably to do land, and you learn so much about that. So stay on that path. Just bring it intentionally there where you want it to be.
Robin,
Thanks,
I just want
Robin.
to say, oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I
Thanks,
just want to
Rob.
say thank you for this is a great reminder. So thanks again.
Dean, intentionally, I want to meet you like in one of the next months, right? We do
Ah,
something about that.
Hey, he just said like next week, he turned down somebody else, but he still wants to meet you in person. So I don't know. I think you're like in the top 1% echelon, Gene.
oh, we're
Give me
like
1 second. I have
three
somebody calling. Let me
quarters
just answer
away.
that.
Corinne,
Yes,
this is Anthony.
Anthony. Hey.
Hi, I just want to add something if I could. My daughter
Hmm.
was working from home for the last 6 years. So she's working from home, handling her kids, doing homeschooling for her kids while she's doing housework, all the whole entire day with a multifaceted, like an orchestra. I watched her do it. I couldn't figure out how she was doing it. But the company did a mass layoff, so suddenly she does not have that job right now. So my other two kids
Mm,
work for Costco, so they got her job at Costco. And it's funny because the employees that are working in her department keep telling her, you're going too fast, you're doing too much, you're making us look bad. And she's like, no, I'm just doing what I always do. She goes, this is my norm. I take my break, I'm done. I come back to work. She goes,
hmm.
I'm at home, I do what I do. I paint, whatever it is. And it's funny, I thought about that. How many people just like to be the norm and don't ever step over the line and say, okay, I'm gonna go above and beyond all the time and see what happens.
And how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So how you're showing up to
Exactly.
whatever you're receiving the resource of payment from should be your 110%, whether that's you're working for yourself or you're working for Costco. That's
Yeah, yeah,
amazing.
and for her, working on the phone while she's handling her kids, while she's figuring out how to what's for dinner, all that's just normal for her, and
Yeah.
she can't. Her boss came and asked me, he goes, how you like it? She goes, I like it. He goes, "No, that's not that hard." He goes, you're in the deli, it's the hardest spot in the whole store. She goes, not really. So he told him her day, and he's like, okay, we'll talk again. He walked off.
And that's a lot to do with focus and the ability to do the one thing in front of you correctly. And one of the things that I've heard from Robin and from my mentors is be where your feet are. If I'm with my family, if my focus then is making sure that they get fed or whatever it might be, that's where my feet are and that gets my 100% attention. And that then comes down to like what we're putting on our actual calendar. And to do that, to make that transition so gracefully speaks to you as a dad. So just congrats to you and your
Yeah,
family. And it sounds like your daughter
yeah.
is making her way through even a difficult situation.
Well, she just got offered a job at APS, which is more money, and she'll be working 1 day a week, 1 day a month in the office, and then the rest will be back at home. So she's only had a month and a half, so now she's gonna make a decision. But I think the biggest thing is learning how to compartmentalize. You just said be where your feet are. That to me is compartmentalize. Like this is where I'm at. This is what got to get done. So nothing else exists till I get through this little part. And that's hard to do. It really is hard to train yourself because being a multitasker, you always want to try and do little bits of everything, which means you get a lot of nothing done.
Yeah, exactly. I really appreciate your thoughts, Anthony. And I want to give a
Thank you.
few other people some opportunities to talk because I've seen you guys pop in. So I'm going to make an order to it. And we're going to do Sanjay because you're already unmuted, Ray, and then Adam if you still have thoughts to share. Sanjay, what's up?
No, I just want to say, I mean, I'm always working hard, I'm trying a lot, but not organized. But today I got some better guidance, which hopefully will help me to be more productive. That's all I want to say. It was really great.
I think you're going to keep us real busy if you get more productive. This guy comes into the comms call. It's 7 a.m. for him, by the way, on the West Coast. He's there first thing every morning. And I know because I see the people piling in. And on top of that, he drops like 1 to 2 comps every day. So if Sanjay gets good at time management, we're all going to get more busy.
Then you blame it to Robin.
Yeah, we'll definitely blame Robin. Thank you, Sanjay. I love hearing from you. I want to give Ray an opportunity to talk and then Adam, and then Robin can take us home. What you got, Ray?
Okay, well,
Just want to
first I
say
want to
thanks
say
for sharing all that tonight.
thanks for
A lot of insight I got and
oh, we
helped
have
me
two
throughout
round, two races.
2025 for
Oh,
sure.
I've got 2 Rays. I'm so sorry. I must have confused you all. Can we start with Ray Kelly and then Ray Holloway?
Okay.
I apologize. Ray Kelly, what you got?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for sharing that all tonight, Robin. That was really great. It really helped me get set for 2025 and gave me a lot of insight on the moving parts that have to be put in place to see my goals reached. And sometimes you got to really put it down on paper, like Robin said. You got to think through it and then think through it again, put that plan in place, and then execute it. So it just was a great, reminder and enforcing what I already knew, but not really doing it. So that was awesome. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Keep-
And guys, there's one secret sauce, right? When you plan your weeks, you should have thinking time on your calendar. Thinking time. Sit down and think about that, what you're doing, right? Take that as another advice. And with that said, let's switch to Ray because I need to jump really soon, right? Because we have somebody cleaning up our AC and I need to get over there because the guy probably needs to get paid, right?
Okay, so
Yeah.
I will just pretty much echo my namesake, Ray Kelly. You pretty much mentioned some of the key points that I wanted to say. First, I want to say, Robin, that was a well put together presentation. It was pretty good, very informative, and gave me a lot to think about. And how do I structure a plan, make plans for 2025? I just wanted to know. I heard you mention that you had paid something like you paid a heck of a lot of money for this presentation. Was this correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it was very vital information. Is there a way in which we can get these slides sent to us by way of email?
So we are going to put this recording on YouTube and it's going to be posted on our Facebook. So you need to look out in those 2 places. But just text me. You guys have my number and I'll send you the link to the YouTube.
Okay, sounds great. All right. And a question I have regarding the presentation, you mentioned about the rule of 168. I kind of stepped away when you were talking, so I missed some of the salient points that you mentioned there. Do you have time to kind of just briefly go it over?
Absolutely. So 168 hours is that what each and everybody of us has every week. There's not more, there's not less. This is what this is about. And I guess being aware of that and intentional about that, is like the most important thing that while you are in your 168 hours that you have a week, do the things that bring you there where you want to be, right? Beside of that, what you're doing, right? So the law of the 168, we mean the 168 hours that are attached to everybody's week. Sanjay has them, Ray has them, Claudia has them, Adam has them, Vlad has them, Korean, Greg, Ray, you have them, David and Harold, like everybody has this like 168 hours, but it's about you, what you do with that, right? It's about you, how you spend them. So I think what I wanted to get you with this production pyramid is like one important thing is that you be intentional about what you do and what you don't do. And sometimes it's better, and a lot of times it's better to say no to things than saying yes to everything, because that will bring you there where you want to be. And was that a good enough answer for that, Ray?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Quick, Robin, have you read that book, 52 Weeks in 1 Month?
Yeah,
That's a good one.
it's a good one. Yeah. I mean, um, I I listen to audiobooks meanwhile when I do stuff like this, and I then read what I liked on the audio because I have more time, because I walk a lot, I drive a lot, right? Travel a lot, and when I hear something I like, then I read it. And when I read, I write too, right? Because just what you write will really end up in your brain. Okay, guys. With that said, plan your 2025, get it together, and then the only thing what brings you there where you want to be is execution. With that said, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. I know it's still 4 p.m. for Sanjay, but it's 6 p.m. here. Have a good one. Thank you for spending that hour with us. And when we don't see each other, right? Like, I think I will not be on this year again, right? Have a wonderful Christmas. And if you want to hang out with us, we're on every morning, Cobb's Call, 9 a.m. It's $99 a month. Sajay, you learn a lot there, right? You would say that, right?
It's great. It's worth every penny.
Okay. Okay. So hang out there with us. And if you don't, Merry Christmas and see you on the other side, right?
Yeah,
Guys,
see
have
you
a good
next
one.
Thursday. Bye,
Bye-bye.
y'all.
And
Thank
Korean,
you.
you and I have a call appointment tomorrow, right?
Yes, you're on my calendar. And
Okay.
anybody else that needs to be on my calendar, just grab that QR code. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.